Welcome to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So, stay with us as right now we present. I've been talking about this story for the last couple of weeks, and I've told it incessantly on the radio and on the podcast because I think it's a very, very valuable story and something that we can all learn from. And the author of the 4 books that are coming out this fall, 3 of them she has in her hot little hand now, and the fourth and the fourth one is coming, and it will be a box set available for you for Christmas. And it is it's quite the story behind the books that we're going to get into if you didn't listen to the previous podcast or the radio show, actually. And but I want to introduce Sonia Palleck, right?
Yes, Palleck, thank you.
Yes, indeed. And she is an author. She is also an orthodontist, and she works with people to fix their face and stuff. But she's also got a really incredible story. I was talking earlier today to a musical group called Sisters J, and they were saying because she wrote songs at 16 years old that were well beyond her years, that were really impactful. And I said, "How did you do that?" She said, "I don't know. It just came to me," and so I told them your story, and they thought that was pretty remarkable as well, which I do as well because your story came from somewhere else, and it was by design, and it was because we need stories like this and that to be out there. And you've done a great thing. So tell us a little bit about your story for those of our audience that weren't available for the podcast. You can always go to positivetalkradio.net and you can listen to that show as well. But tell us your story.
My story really started, everybody has a story, right, Kevin, that goes back to the beginning. And
Yep.
my story where the book started, let's start there, is sort of when I woke up. I was lying in bed at 4 a.m. and a man's voice said into my ear, "It's time to write." And it was outside of my consciousness. It was not a thought in my head. It was as if someone leaned in and spoke it into my ear. And I jumped out of bed and I looked around to see if someone was in the house, and there wasn't. And I texted my therapist. I picked up my phone and I very clearly remember saying, "I think I have schizophrenia," because I heard a voice outside of my head. And the text came back, "What did they say?" And I wrote, "They said it's time to write." And she wrote back, "Then go write." And I went to the chair, a chair in my living room. I grabbed a journal off the shelf. I had a pen there. I lit a candle. I said a prayer that it be for something good, because I realized at that moment that what I had just experienced was something so singular and so unique. It was something incredible was about to happen. And I didn't know what it was. It wasn't exactly fear. I was very unsettled. I had a very nervous tummy to sit there and think what is going to come out. But I did not have a thought in my head. Like nothing was coming to me. And I just thought, I don't know what this will even amount to anything. And I just held the pen there. And it said, it just wrote, like I heard the words, I felt it through me say, "Leave the little light on," as I wrote it, March 1st, 2020. And that was a title for a book that I had thought of. As we all might do, I'm over 50. At some point in your life, every human being has thought, "I'm going to write a book," and that's our thoughts. Like we all think that, and we've maybe tried, and you see how hard this task might be. And again, I did, and I had thought of that title. And nothing, and I thought in my head, so what? Like that was my thought back at this moment. And then it just started just like the sound of the title. It was just like there was an energy came through me, over me, where this voice that was inside of me just was like, "Athena took the great painted stairs one step at a time." And I thought, my very first thought was, wow, Athena, what a pretty name. Who knew? Like And then it just continued. It flowed out like so easily, so masterfully, where I was just sort of taken by this scene of this little girl going down the stairs, and then I could see the doorway, and then I realized, this is me. This was me when I was 3. This is my childhood home. I can see it all happening, and I'm going to get my dad. I know what happens here. This is when he burns me with the cigarette inadvertently, but he backs into me with it, and then says to me, what are you doing there anyway? You're not supposed to. I was sent out to get him. You're fine. Don't cry. Brush it off. And I realized that I kept writing and writing until the writing just stopped. And it was roughly an hour. It was right around 5 a.m. and I was done. It just stopped. And I had come to a conclusion of this story, this little chapter. And I thought, okay, I shut it. I had to go to work. I had patients to see. I had a long drive to get to work. And I thought, okay, let's just wrap that up and I'm out. And I went to work. I didn't think of it all day. I didn't share it with anybody. I thought that was strange, but I didn't really think much of it. I'm very busy at work and taken by what I'm doing. And so when I got home, I really didn't think of it again until 4 a.m. the next day when my eyes opened. It was like a bell went off, like my eyes opened at 4 a.m. And the voice was sort of in me, like the book had been, it's time to write. And I was sort of like, I don't even remember what I wrote. Like, what am I going to write next? What comes next? I don't know. I didn't even remember what I really wrote. I wrote about that scene, but I don't really remember. And I went to the chair. I got the book. I did the exact same thing. I lit the candle. I said a prayer. And I held the pen there. And I kind of looked at, I thought, oh, that was quite a bit of writing. Like I did. I don't remember writing all of that, but it was quite a bit of writing. And I just held the pen there and it just picked up where it left off. It's almost like I just had to read the last sentence of the chapter prior, and it would just pick up and away it went. And it just went line by line by line endlessly until 5 a.m. Like it just, I wasn't allowed, like in my mind, I realized these things came about. I wasn't allowed to change it. I didn't like a lot of the things that were being put down at the early part of that first book. It was about my very young childhood. It's based on my life, but it reads like a fiction. And I thought, I don't want anyone to read this story. I'm not have anybody read this about me, anything that had to do with me, even remotely. And I had a lot of resistance to writing that. And I thought, I would think, I don't want to write that. I'm not going to, I try it. Like, it's almost like I try to scratch it out, but it's almost like there'd be a voice like, no. And I just kind of stop. And then I think, well, I'm going to write something different, and nothing would come. There'd be no words. It would just be like a blank mind. And then I would say, or I think I'm going to write, let's jump ahead. Let's hurry this up. I just want to write something quicker, get through this. And it would just go away. And then I would just go back to the writing and keep writing about Athena and this journey that she's on. So the first book goes from when she's 3 till she's 18. The second one, which is this one, is from 18 to 24. And the third one, which I have here, is from 24 to 46. And these books, the final one goes from 46 to 50. So the entire series follows this journey until Athena turns 50. And in it, we follow her life through the present tense, through her experiences in life. And the first book is about trauma. It's about what lays the basis for our lives. We all have trauma, and we all have the stories that we fill in and the stories that are being told to us from where we're from. So our society at large, and then our local society, our schools, and sort of what are the stories that are being filtered into us, and also what are the stories that are coming out of us. And if you marry these two, this is the basis for the decision making in our life. This is what's going to take us wherever we're going to go, whether it's to a great place or to a terrible place. These are the things that are going to unite and make us who we are, and really dictate like how we behave in a lot of ways. And I think that as a society, when we look at where we are in the world and how much hurting there is, how much suffering there is, we really, each of us have to pause and say, how did we get here? And where am I? Because if I am not peace, if this world is not at peace and I want peace, then I have to be peace. And before those books got written, before I got that message, I was not peace most of my life. It was not until I became peace and searched for that inside of me. And I just thought, how do I tell people how this works? Like, how do I tell people how I fell into what's this? Peace and love. And find that in yourself. It's there, it's living there. And you can get there. And really, what it is, it's a Hansel and Gretel trail of her life. And somewhere along the line, it just strikes a chord with people. The more people that have read it and are texting me and telling me about it, this was my life, this is what I did, I felt this scene really triggered me, this really made me feel this, I understand where it came from. It's like we have to know where it came from in order to heal it. So we got to feel it to heal it.
Well, a couple things. First of all, I don't blame you for not telling people when you went to work that day that I had a man's voice in my head and he told me to start writing. I don't blame you for that. How long was it before you started mentioning it to people that you were having this moment in time when you were writing? Was it a month or two or three or?
It was a while because COVID hit right away.
Oh yeah. See, and
So
I wanted to mention that too, was that the fact that you don't by chance think that you were getting the message on March 1st of 2020 to start writing at the same time that COVID was starting to whip around the world and everybody was scared and things were shutting down. You don't think that was a coincidence, do you? They gave you that opportunity.
yeah, I think they did give me that opportunity. And I also really and truly believe that if it hadn't been like a shutdown, I may never have gotten to write the books. Simply not because of time, because I could only write from 4 a.m. till 5 a.m. That is the only time that the writing came. It came at 4 a.m. and it stopped at 5 a.m. and it was no other time during the day. So even though I was off all day long and I could have slept in all morning, eyes open at 4 a.m., go to the chair, go do the writing. The issue for me was that for like the entire month of May, I had so much resistance to writing the first book. It was like when the writing would come out and I would write the scenes, I was there. I was Athena. It was like I was living it again. I could feel it. I could see everything. I had to go through it and live it. And there were parts of these experiences that were so painful to me that I simply was unwilling to do it. I had my own shame, my own guilt. I had to work through all of these childhood feelings in order to put them on a page. And for the entire month of May, I resisted it. I just would refuse to do it. I was in a bathrobe, walking around my house, yelling at God, just because if I didn't sit down and do the writing, the words just piled up like an explosion of words in my head. Like it was just like a relentless voice that was just like hammering on me. And I would just uncork some wine at 10 a.m. and wander around, walk my dog 10 times during the day, having this argument. And this went on for weeks until two important things happened. One was that I developed eczema. So I had this eczema that started on my neck. And as I refused to do the writing and my whole head was exploding, this eczema spread up over my eyes until my eyes swelled shut. It was as if I was wearing a mask from the bottom of my neck around my eyes. And I realized that this was something that was being done to me, like because I wouldn't do the writing because I was resisting what I was supposed to be doing. And I just had so much anxiety about it, about anybody reading it. The pain and the shame of those moments just to me were like, I don't want anyone to read this. And I had this vision one day laying in bed that I saw the book. I saw the first book. I saw this cover and I saw myself open it I saw the title, and I saw the dedication. And the dedication says, one person's truth is another person's fiction. Truth implies an entirety that cannot be told here. It has to be lived. This is not my truth. It is my story for me. And when I saw the for me, because I thought, I'm writing this for me. God is asking me to write this, and it's for me. And I thought, so I'm supposed to sit down and do this writing. And what is my truth? Because I was so worried. What about everyone else? What would they say if they read this? My sisters, my family, my friends. And I thought, it just doesn't matter, because this step is for me to heal further and to help others heal, which I understood, but much later in the writing, like more than halfway through the writing, I understood the bigger picture of what these books deliver. But in understanding that a story is the entire situation here on this planet, it's the story that we're told when we're little. Like, you shouldn't have been standing there. Don't cry, it doesn't hurt. Okay, when something burns you and it hurts, you have been told a story, because your truth is that that cigarette burned me and it hurt. But there's a story being told to you, and now you're going to tell yourself another story about it. Like, did he mean to do that? Or is he sorry he did it? Or was I wrong to be standing there? How could I avoid that next time, because I did something wrong and I'm not really clear on it? So you're uncertain, you're not sure if it was loving or not, if someone's sorry or not, like this happened, right? And then you go forward and say, this is society, right? When we have hurt feelings, don't cry, you're fine. This was our generation. It's like, your stuff is your stuff. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear how you're feeling. This is uncomfortable. You're making the room weird, like with your feelings, like it's gross. And that's for weak people. When like real men don't cry. I think that was like a commercial, like when I was little, like we were literally told those things. And men my age, like yourself, our generation, then struggle with manhood and emotions, because like if you have emotion, you're not supposed to feel deep feelings. You're not supposed to cry. It's weak. It's for the weak. And being vulnerable is a strength. Being able to bend, being able to feel the range of emotion and stand still in the midst of it. These are strengths. These are not weaknesses at all. And in knowing all of these things are stories. They're just, so it's simply, we choose what stories to believe. And as we go on in life, we're going to base our choices off of what we believe. And these are our belief systems. And all of these stories accumulate in us, and some get sort of pushed aside. We have no need to confront that story that we told ourselves, even though it was harmful to us, that like, I'm always in the wrong place. I'm always doing something wrong. Like I'm an idiot. And we just go with that. And that's our default. That's been programmed in at ground level 0. And now we're just going to default to that when stuff doesn't work out. Well, it's because I'm an idiot. I'm always in the wrong place. I don't know. Things don't work out. And that's just a story you believe. That's just something someone told you. That's not true.
And that's even a lot of times, that is something that we will use self-deprecating behavior or jokes to talk about how stupid we are. Oh, I was so stupid doing that. Can you believe that I was that dumb to do that kind of thing? And we believe it ourselves because nobody's saying, "Oh no, you're not stupid." They kind of nod along with it, or they don't want to get into your nightmare or whatever. But no, you're right. But I was at a conference one time. We spent 2 days, 2 full days, talking about everybody's trauma, everybody's story, if you will. And at the end of 2 days, the guy looks at the entire room. There were 100 people there, and everybody had gotten up to the microphone and they said, "Yeah, this happened to me, and my mom was this, and I haven't talked to my brother in 10 years, and and all these different stories." And he finally got up and said, "I want to tell you something." All these stories, you made it all up. None of it's real. It's all stuff that you made up because that's what you thought was but none of it's true. None of it's real. You are not what you think you are. You are much better than that. And at that point, everybody went, "Oh no, I am. I'm fine." But you know what I mean? Because we tell ourselves these stories that are not even relevant to the conversation because the people that are involved in those stories that I've told stories to my mom about my you and my growing up that I said, you did that. My kids have done this to me. I said, you did this, you did that. And I said, no, I didn't. And it's because it was a story that they created in
Yeah.
order for whatever reason.
Yeah. And it's everyone's perception is different because
Yes.
every vessel is unique. And
Yes.
so how I filter the world and the energy is different than anyone else. And how it filters back out through me, different than anyone else. So it's different than all of my siblings. And same, different for your children, different for you. Even though you're living together and you're sharing this space and you're having this exchange, you're taking it one way, one's taking it another, the other one says something completely different. It's like, were you even in the same room? You won't come to a consensus of how that went down. It's going to be different. But what we do know is that we do that. We do fill in the blanks. And
Yep.
what you get to see with these books is the way that Athena fills the blanks in and filters information. And you can see her, it's sort of like, oh, this is how it works, decision making. This is how the process works. And you can see that in this situation, Athena is very resilient. She, like, you root for her because she goes for love every time. She she has an innate understanding of love as a greater picture, as she has a connection to the divine, to space. There's a place of peace that she can go to in herself to disconnect from her physical, so that when she's in pain or having issues at home, she can be feeling safe and well. And she knows that where she's at, this isn't what's happening in her home life. And so this small child, you see, carries some divine knowledge. And
Yes.
and that's the connection. Like, and we all have the ability to make this connection and to foster that connection. Some are forced to do it out of a necessity because they were traumatized and they go to a space that's helpful. You can just as easily go to a space that's dark and stay there in a place of heavy shame or guilt or fear, and or hate, or all of these emotions that will tear at us and dim our light. And Athena gravitates in deciding which way am I going to go, because she lives like a human in these books. She's not written like a hero who's infallible, who only chooses good and does no evil. She is one that walks the line. It's like, which way am I going to go?
Yep.
Like, I'm trying my best, but things are pushing me this way, and I got to bring myself back. So, because I believe in love, I love love. I love the feeling of love. I want peace. And that is, I believe, an overwhelming feeling that's common to us as human beings, that we want peace and we
Oh,
love
yeah.
love. And so when you have a person and a character like this, the ability to connect to a character like Athena, who loves love, is one that we root for because it speaks to our inner little person, our child, who wants love, who desires love and always wanted to be loved and accepted. And as an adult, we blanketed it with, it's okay because you're stupid. Somebody will like, you're good enough, like you're enough. But it's not. We're not enough. We're everything. Every human being is so incredibly important and special to the collective. There is no such thing as a person that's just enough. It's
You
just
know,
not.
what's interesting, the way that you're talking and the way that the book is and talking about love. We come from a place that is nothing but love. There is no hate, there is no division, there is no fear. It's all, we are all together and it's all love. We come here And it's a very different scenario because there is love is kind of one of those things that people guard and protect. They don't give out freely, and so they end up you end up feeling less than or not loved, and so you spend your whole life trying as best we can, and none of it's perfect, to find love again, to get to that place where we can have unconditional love from other people. And a lot of times it doesn't work out very well because for whatever reason. So it makes it's but it's inspiring to walk through this story, and it's all in chronological order, and it's to walk through this story of what it's like from when she was 18 to 19 to 20. She was just figuring out life, and then 30, and then 35, and then 40, and she's now getting, I think she's got it together, and then something happens and it's not together anymore. And but
Oh, it's not
that's how life works.
together.
Uh-huh.
No, it's not together. It's terribly not together. Yeah, it's amazing, and that's really what is a life. You
Yeah.
know, we all can look at our lives and oftentimes think to ourselves, like, how does that story end? You know, because I, for one, would always think, like, this can't be how my story ends because I love love too much. It just can't end poorly. Like, you know, there has to be an end where there's love. And that part of being loving, when you if someone had asked me, and we had talked about this, Kevin, is if someone said to me, well, do you love yourself? I up and down would have swore 100% I do. Of course I do. I absolutely love myself. I would insist on it that yes, I do. But the reality is that I would berate myself horribly if I did anything wrong. I was an insane perfectionist who just had to tried to have control over things so that I could reduce the uncertainty in my life and sort of, try to collaborate so that with people to work with me on this, keep the environment steady so that it's like less fear. However, there is no control like that in life, and trying to manipulate things and trying to control things isn't being loving to yourself. It's not experiencing the flow of energy that we are. These are just things and events that we do and things that we acquire, and they hold no importance when you hold them against a human being and a human heart. Our emotions and what we are capable of experiencing in these bodies is absolutely miraculous. And it is for us to learn of love, because society's warped that word. It is not based on all of the conditions that were applied to us growing up. It is, as you said, unconditional. There's unconditional love is a redundancy. Love is unconditional, and it cannot be anything else, or it is not love. So in the way that I would insist I was loving on myself, yes, of course, but if I were then made a mistake and I were mean and crazy to me, I'm not loving. Okay, I don't actually love myself because I don't accept myself if something goes wrong. It's only when things are going well, to the degree that I can measure it, that I can assess it, that I could change it, that I could fix it. Those are the ways that I interact with people, because I'm emotionally distant, because I have trauma, and I cannot be vulnerable. I'm not going to share my true self. I feel fraudulent lots of times. I'm pretending. I don't know who I am. I feel my spirit is outside of my body, or I'm disconnected from me. I don't know how, like, I'm a witness of things are going on, and I feel like I don't even know, I'm floating above, watching the whole thing, thinking this is circus. Like, I don't know. And then just happy to just give the conditioned responses. This is what you want to hear. I'm going to be the person you expect me to be and who you think I should be, so that you will accept me. And then tell you right to your face, of course I love myself. Yes, of course I do. Like, it's like I'm completely out of the realm of what is loving. And the point of the books is to show people how far away she gets before she can come back to where love lives. And that's inside each of us. Is like, you are never going to find what you're looking for when you're looking in the wrong place. It's just not there.
What is that song? Looking for love in all the wrong places, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah, and we spend our lives doing that.
Yeah.
we also spend our lives looking at the experiences that we have. And I didn't learn this until I amassed a number of them that I could then start to compare the good experiences from the bad experiences, and and the labels that I put on them. Like this, oh, this was a good experience. I like more of that. That was bad. But many times a bad experience leads to a good experience. It's part of what it's part of the tapestry of life that we all go through as we go through this whole process. And at least for me, it's like I don't have any bad experiences anymore.
Right.
I have experiences that what is this experience? Did this get presented to me, and how can I learn from it?
Hmm. Yeah, every experience is just that. It's an experience. It is what it is. It's what
Exactly.
we prefer, some we don't prefer. But if we don't learn from them, they will keep presenting to us, like this is the point of it all is for us to learn and grow. And we will learn and grow from every experience, whether we understand that we are learning and growing or not. You have to take that next step. And something is going to get positioned for you to move to one side or the other, or to go over it, or you have to somehow get around these obstacles that are placed in your path. And I think that what people sometimes do is, well, one, a lot of us will numb, as I'm not going to feel it. I'm not
Right.
going to feel it. I'm just going to kill that feeling, however, which way I can. You can't run away from it because it goes with you. So
Right.
you're really like it's chasing you. And so that extra busy, like the high performing overachiever, that's just someone trying to stay ahead of it. Like we just go, go, go. So like you can't catch me. But eventually you're going to slow down enough, and life is just going to slow you down until it bumps into you and it rolls over you because it's been coming so hard and fast trying to catch you. Like that's what's going to happen. And that's where we find ourselves at this stage of the game. It's just that every sorrow that we've experienced, because we're in a relative world, and I'm from a science background, so I have a lot of science in me, like where it's like, and I grew up with religion, so I was always like, these two have to get married. These two can't just be two separate. If everything is built to make sense, these two things marry. They have to meet up, and they really do, because in science, everything is relative. There is no good without bad. There's no hot or without cold. There's these two things only exist because they're relative to one another. And so there's experiences we prefer, experiences we don't. That's the norm. That has to go hand in hand. So what does the human heart, when it experiences sorrow, what is happening is it's expanding, because in my mind I see it like it's creating the heart is like the chalice for joy, and the sorrow that's expanding our heart, like when we feel it so much and it's so wide open, so vulnerable, is so that it can receive love and joy. And so for me, I'm just so much a believer in my generation, because we suffered at the hands of parents, teachers, friends, like bullies on the schoolyard, spouses. Like you're making choices that you're staying with people that are all like affected in the same way, and it's really like what we grew up in, the dog eat dog world. It's an unfair world. You just have to learn to accept it, which means you carry sorrow, which means over decades we have created the largest container on earth for joy that exists, I believe, in humanity. We know what happens when some good 80s music goes on. Like, we just want to have fun. And that's really what we came to do. And my wish and hope for everyone is that they find their way to inner peace, so that you can experience the joy that exists, that is available to you. Because if you have felt sorrow in this relative world, you are ready to receive joy. And it's yours for the taking. There is nothing standing in your way. You simply have to remember who you are and come back center into your being, become peace, and live life out like a dance party.
And invite Cindy Lauper. Because
Yes,
she'll be
yes.
there.
Yes,
Because girls just wanna
her
have fun
song
with it.
is an anthem. Like, her song is an anthem of wisdom. When I listen to that song now, I think if you think of girls just want to have fun as the divine feminine, which is spoken about a lot right now, that we just want to have fun, is that the divine masculine is one of not the feminine balances with fun. And right now we've had a swing this way, and we are about to swing to the divine feminine, which is fun. And that's where it's like this start up of divine feminine energy coming up to say, hey, lighten up on this planet, lighten up people on each other. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
too much anger, too much negativity. This is not fun. This is getting boring already. All this dissension, all this hate, all this anger, all this fighting. This has to stop so that we can actually enjoy existing.
Well, and that, I believe, is one of the reasons why your book was written. And I would say you were the author, and I would say, actually, you're the co-author because,
Yes.
it came to you directly, and it came for a reason, and the reason was now. We are living in, the next year and a half are gonna be in the United States, are going to be the most bizarre, year and a half that we've had in our history, and I hope that we come out of it feeling better about it, each other, and come together as one. That's the only way that we're gonna make it through, and your book and books like your book, and because I got the feeling, Sonia, I got the feeling there's somebody who's listening to us saying, I had the same experience, only I just rolled over and went to sleep." And I feel crazy because this book is in my head and I can't seem to wanna get it out, and it wants to come out because because our guys on the other side and the universe, it is trying to help us to get this information out so that we can live our lives, to the best that they can be. I wanted to ask you, why do you think it is that so many of us don't believe that we can live our best life?
Well, because I think that what's demonstrated in front of us is believed to be the reality. Sort of like this happens and this is what happens, so that's what is. And the conclusion from that is like when things get messed up, right? We think about things as becoming broken or damaged, that we need to be fixed. A big one being the princess tale, that we need to be saved, that we're somehow like not whole. And so things happen and it detracts from us. That's not true. Sorry, we are love. And that energy, again in science, energy can't be created or destroyed. It simply exists. And that is what we are. So the energy of love is all of creation. It just simply morphs into different forms. And in this realm, we have the opportunity to experience all of it. It's
Yes.
not selective. And so you cannot be broken, you cannot be diminished, you cannot be less than when you arrived on this planet. You are a constant. Our bodies are going through a constant change. This is just a physical form. It
Boy, no
isn't
kidding.
lasting. And nothing here is lasting. Nothing is forever here because this is just a game. This is just an in and out. We're going to fly in, we're going to experience it all, and then we're going to zip out of here. And in knowing that, to me, death is one to lean back into. It's like death is a safe bet. We're going to die. I'll bet on that one 100 times over. I'm going to win on this bet. We're all going to die. Except what between the time that we arrive and the time that we leave, that's just, again, like the story is that saying, I can't overcome this. I can't get past this. The same way that you say, I hope that it works out. In my mind, as I sat there listening to that, I thought, it's going to work out. Do you know why? All is well at all times. No matter what is going on in our world around us, all is well because it is. Because we are and it is, and so all is well. Because I know that. And it cannot be any other way. It is all of it. And so without judgment, it will be whatever it is. So it will be well, no matter what. And when I know that, I can come from a space of feeling safe and well with my next step I take, with the next choice I make, with the certainty that I am love and all is well, as are you. I don't have fear because I have love, and I'll carry love with me and not fear. And fear is the sense that this all is real and this is what matters, and the judgment is the final word, and that's what counts, instead
So
of what's simply in your heart.
the judgment, the sin, the negativity, these guys aren't doing it my way, so it can't be right, and all of those things. We've got to get past that. And I love. By the way, I got to ask you, because you were talking very much like people that I've known over the last 20 years that are extraordinary people, like Neil Donald Walsh
Thank you.
and Gary Zukav, and there are many others that I've interviewed that are saying the same things that you are saying. Have you believed this for a long time? Is this an epiphany? Is this part of who you are? Is this part of the book process that you wrote? Is it all combined to that? Because you're now, I sense, a different human being than you were 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I'm different. I think that it's all of it. I mean, I think that I came to the planet with some understanding of love, like some deep connection feeling to love, to connection to that. I think through all of my life experiences that I gained some greater understandings, but that in going through tons of trauma and having everything sort of burned down and having to always making the choice to step forward, to just take another step, to just be, to continue, because we're going to continue after this plane. And so we're just going to walk through it. It's like, again, if there's buffalo hate the rain. So when the storm comes, they turn and run straight into it because the fastest way is through it. And so just walk through it. Right? Winston Churchill said, if you're in hell, just keep going. You don't stop there. And I would think that sometimes, like, don't stop here. Like, this doesn't feel good. Like, just keep going.
I didn't know Buffalo were that smart.
Yeah. When I was 50, I would say is when the book came to its culmination, is sort of when I had epiphanies that brought me to, I want to say, a plane of higher consciousness. And that is the commonality between the words that I'm speaking and others, because what I'm speaking is a universal truth. And I've seen it and I've felt it and I've heard it and I've experienced it in my heart. And it is what is in everyone. You simply need to access this. It is in you. It is what we are and where we're going. And it's love. You can give it any kind of name you want, but it is love to me. And that is our birthright. Like, we come without knowledge of it. So the game is, we're going to forget that we're this. We're going to get confused by everything we see and all these pitches that are telling us, no, you're less. No, you're not good for these reasons. Yeah, we don't like you because of this. And you're going to grab and grasp at straws, like, this doesn't feel good, but I don't know, I'll take that. But like, ooh, I was like, how do I get rid of that? And how do I work myself to be better so I'm not this? And you're going to use all those values in ways that you're judged, and you're going to get good at it. You're going to get good at judging others the same way you're judging on yourself. And then you're going to come to some place again where over and over what repeats is the feeling of loneliness, I think, inside of us, because the more judgment we use, the more fear we create, because we instinctively know inside we are one. There's something that lingers in us, the little light in us. Leave the little light on. That's that little light. It connects us. That's our light. When this vessel opens up and the light goes out into the room, it's everywhere. And everyone's light together is inseparable. We're one, but we're parceled into these bodies. And now we're sort of in the dark, and we have fear because we know that if I judge you, you're going to judge me. And now I'm not like, am I enough? Because that's that whole system. That's how it works. And that's how certain people control others. That's what makes you buy something. That's what makes you not speak up or stand up for others and let atrocities happen. Whole populations just standing closed and lipped, like, because we're so afraid, we're just glad it's not us. And it starts like there's a bully on the playground. You're just glad it's not you, but you have fear. When people suffered, discriminations and things around us in the 70s and 80s, which they did clearly, it was on TV, it was in the news, like it was right in your face,
It was
okay?
everywhere.
Everywhere. Racism, sexism, classism, everywhere, all the time. It still is, really. But really, like, socially acceptable norms in the 70s and 80s, like, you were not, it was not just the marginalized group that was suffered. It's every one of us, because we are one, and we would all suffer this fear of separation. And Athena in the books suffered watching all these things, and it creates that fear and judgment, which begets more fear and judgment until we feel very lonely, because we know somehow that we're separated. So we yearn for connection. We have a longing, even when we're married and we have our children, there is a nagging longing that we can't put our finger on. It's what a midlife crisis is about. Because that higher consciousness is tapping on you. Remember me? Remember me? Where are you? I want your attention. And it just builds. And to go into it involves facing those fears from childhood. Those are the hardest ones. This book, the hardest one to write, was about a small child. And there is that small child in each of us that when you open it up and go on the ride with Athena, you can hold her hand. She will show you what she felt. You will feel what she felt. It's like a guide. It's like the journey to the center of the earth, but to your human heart. Like, go with her on it through this book series, and you're going to find that you held the key the whole time. Where you were searching, what you were longing for, was your own mind's attention on you. All along, it was right there. And you will unlock this knowing that you carry of what you really are, and you are love. And there is no fear. It just gets rid of the fear and the anxiety. It is peace. It is acceptance. It is kindness. It is compassion. And it is our right as humans to feel it. And things and people who know these things and do things on purpose to fearmonger, to make people afraid, to hurt others, to continually push people into the dark, are only hurting themselves. We are one. And so when one suffers, we all suffer. We can't not. It's just understanding this, to love others, be love, love you, love yourself, and you change the world. And so all is well.
So when are you starting your speaking tour?
Right now, isn't this it?
This
I'm on
is this
it.
this
I'm
is
on
you're on it, baby. Yeah, this is really good stuff. Because it is so true. And I've talked to, oh, I don't know, I added it up recently, and I've done like 2,000 interviews. And anybody that talks about life in a bigger sense, rather than got to get up today, I'm going to go pee, I'm going to go poop, I'm going to work, I'm going to go home, I'm going to eat, and I'm going to pee to bed and go pee and go. That when we start talking about the realities of what life is here for and what we're here about, everybody has the same ideas. They haven't read the same books. They haven't been in the same seminars, but they all come away. Everybody that I talk to comes away with the same attitude, which is even the gospel according to John Lennon. All you need is love. It's an important. aspect of who we are. And so it's you're not saying anything that isn't new, but it's very real what you're saying. And the books give people an idea and a step by step walking through of everything that you go through in life, and you get to the other side. And
Yes, and I think that's the importance of it, is the book series doesn't come from a healed space and try and tell you, heal yourself, do this. It comes from trauma. It comes from fear. It comes from judgment, from longing, from loneliness, from attempts and failures. It comes from the experience. And we're all walking that path at different points in the journey. We're all along the whole, continuum of life at all these points. And so somewhere along this line, you're going to pick up that book and you're going to say, here's where I'm at. And now you can see where it's going. It's like, because there's a way out, it's almost like a little roadmap of how to find your way to that salvation, to that freedom, and to
I call
liberate
it
yourself. Yes, from this fear that's always on us. It's like, and I just don't have it. And I didn't live my life like this. I was not this person. But this made me different. These books, and I hope, like I say, Kevin, I hope the whole world reads them, because it's important.
it's obviously is important, and the more 20 years ago, Neil Donald Walsh wrote Conversations with God. Gary Zukav wrote Seed of the Soul, and there are so many others. Wayne Dyer, and they've this is just one more opportunity to say what they said, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And everybody can find their own way to understand and be attracted to, oh, this I get. I didn't get that, but this I understand, this I get. It's just another way that I believe the universe is saying, okay, well, we tried that. Now, so let's try this, and
Yeah.
let's package it this way and see if our marketing department can get more people to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, because, and I will admit this, like, I'm a science person. I'd be like, for years, like, chakras, who cares? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
It didn't even like turn off, like Western culture completely ruled, got no time for this, and it's nonsense. Like Reiki, whatever. Like, no, everything is energy, everything is valid, everything is an experience. And these books are a pathway, they're a guide, they're also for the masses. It is a fast gripping read. It is about a person, about a human being. It is not, everyone relates to her. It doesn't matter. I have young, old, rich, poor, white, black. It doesn't matter. Every human being relates to Athena and is like, I felt that girl so much, like in my soul. It was so gripping. It was so moving. I cried, and I think it's because the journey along is terrifying. And to just say, hey, Kevin, go inside and dig out your deepest fears and sit with them so that you can get past them and get to your golden light and your truth, like, and sit in glowing love for the rest of your life and have a grand old time here. Wouldn't that be great? This is a party. Like, I've heard people say who get here, oh, it's so lonely. It's like, I want everyone to come. Get over here. I want you on this side of things, because this side is so fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun over here. So let's go.
All right, I'm with you. Let's get so. By the way, I've put together a it's called Positive Connections. It's a Facebook group, and I've got only put it together last week, and I've got 30 something members, and I would love to have you come and be part of an answer a question and answer group thing with them, because we all need to work together. There's a lot of folks that are lonesome and they don't have an outlet for like-minded people to talk about, because there are people that years ago, when I first started this, my mother, being a fundamentalist Christian, I was very guarded in what I would say about spirituality and stuff, because she was like, "You're going to hell. I love you, son, but you're going to go to hell." Just now that she's passed, I'm more free to be able to talk in terms of what you're saying, and what you're saying is, in my world, absolutely correct. And it is, and it makes you happy. You are. I'm also willing to bet you're a happier person than you've ever been in your life.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
Your daughter said as much.
but that's it, is like these books rewrite the princess tale. It's not true love happily ever after because sad things happen here, right? It's one love peacefully ever after. That's the way the story ends well. Peace is for everyone. Peace is not selective. One love is not selective. There is love in everything and everyone, in all of this creation. You can never be alone. You are known, you are loved, you are surrounded by love. And everything is just magical. And when you find that peace, you have that understanding. You are held by the universe. And and so it goes. It's like how to walk through life. Yes, sad things are going to happen, and I'm going to be peace while it happens, and I'm going to feel happy. But I'm guessing I'm going to feel a little more joy because I have more opportunity to feel joy because I'm just waiting on it.
And you can plan on it, and you can understand that it's really real. Being a scientific person like you are and were, um, it must have come as a foreign idea to you that you have spirit guides and you have people on the other side that are working with you, and they're helping guide you, and to send you in the direction that you want to go. That's one of the fundamental things that I'd love your opinion on. There are excuse me, there are people that will say it's God's will, and that God plans everything, and He knows exactly what's happening, and it's going to be that way. I think that's fundamentally flawed in that it's not God's will. What God's will is your will be done. That you are, as part of the collective, as part of all that is, that you get the opportunity to learn and to grow and to have these experiences, not that they're mapped out for you. You get to pick and choose. And so, what do you think of that idea?
I agree. I mean, I think that we are God. That love that is made of everything, that of all creation, is is one. And that I don't really believe in that there's like a God and then all of this. I think that this is just the experience of us as God here. And I think that we design our journeys before we come. And then I think that we can manifest the changes here in how far we progress in that journey by how much we connect to source. And so I love like Joe Dispenza and guys like that are really science based, like, and opening up your consciousness and your awareness to manifest. And I practice a lot of that. It's like, and I would say an intense manifester. That I can, like the books. I mean, like I would say, ask to how to show people this, and I write these 4 books in 15 months. And the editors told me, it takes 5 years to write one book, and to write 4 and have them brought out. I'll have these books out by the end of the year, which is 3.5 years from the moment I sat down, almost like till the time they come out in fully published form, having written them, edited them, painted the covers, done all the design, and then sit here and do podcasts and try and say, hey, I wrote these books. Like, it's, to me, it's mind blowing, but I also think I will be relentless to say it. I will be relentless to talk about it. I have endless energy to do it. Right now, I just work my day job so that I can promote these books. I can bring these books to the world because they hold such divine wisdom, because they came from divine wisdom. Like they just came through me from a place that has a message. And it's a technique that will hook a lot of people who can't find their way out of this dark space because they're not looking in the right spot. And it's like, but if you're looking here at your trauma, let me show you something. And I'll walk you from that moment forward, and we'll go together, and I'll hold your hand. Don't be afraid. And that's what Athena does for people. She's like a little spirit guide.
Hey, I just had a thought. You know what's going to happen?
Nope.
In 3 years from now, 4 years from now, somebody's going to come across book two in a used bookstore or in a library, and they're going to pick it up, and they're going to go, "Well, wait a minute, where's book one?" And then they're going to start reading book two, and they go, "No, wait a minute, I got to go back to book one." So then they're going to go find book one, and then they're going to read what book one, and then book two, and then they've got to go on a great human search to find book three and four, because it's all connected. And that's the beautiful thing about what you're doing. It is also all connected, and
Yeah,
it's a beautiful story. And I like to think that since my granddaughter's name is Athena, that you and I got connected because of that, and that you're going to become. And I hope that you'll come back often to talk to me.
I will,
Um,
Kevin. Yes, that you can read the books in any order. You could pick up book three. Like each book reads like a full book. This book here, like book three, is a full-on book, and you could get into this book and know these characters because it's almost like there's a different cast in each of the books. The scene changes and the characters change. Now Athena's there, and there's some characters that are mentioned, but you could read book three and this be a very gripping book, and you could read them in any order and they would make sense.
that's good to know. That's
it's
good to
it's
know.
astonishing to me, really. Like, I mean, if that were my intention and say, oh yes, I meant to do that, like, let me do that. Yeah, who would want to do that?
Oh, go ahead, own it. You meant to do that.
Yes, I 100% just planned it all out. It was just a master plan.
You, by the way, we are had to go to her website, which is Sonia Pollock, Palleck.com, right?
Yes,
And yes, and
Sonia Pal
um,
on Insta or Facebook. You can follow me there, and I'm on TikTok now. So
ooh, tiki taki.
yeah, I'm
Yes, indeed. Well, and it's important. It's important that you get the word out to as many places. It was interesting. I was talking with your daughter about while we were waiting for you because of traffic,
yeah,
and I said, "So, are you proud of your ma?" And she said, "She's happy. She's doing what she loves." And yeah, I am. And she's 18, so she has every right
yeah.
just to
A lot of opinions there.
well. And the beautiful thing about being 18 is you're not bright enough to know what you don't know yet. You will figure that part out in the next couple 3 years or whatever. But it's important, and this journey that we go through life is an important journey to really understand and be part of, and to enjoy, and really to enjoy and to love the process.
Yeah,
Because I look at it and go, gee, that's interesting. Why did that happen? But it's a process. So follow your heart, follow your process, love life, and love the people that you come into contact with. I think that's a great way to live.
absolutely.
You are special, my friend.
Thank you, and I hope everyone reads my books. Sonia Pal,
Yes, indeed.
the little
Well,
light one.
I'm going to step aside and let you tell them anything that you'd like them to know.
Thank you, Kevin. First of all, thank you for having me on here multiple times to discuss the books.
You
And
kidding me? I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't. You were getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning because they said you start writing. Well,
yeah,
I was like, have her on multiple times because we need to promote the heck out of this thing.
yes. So my website, yes, is www.soniapalleck.com, SONIAPALLECK. The books are for sale on Amazon. 1 and 2 are out on Amazon.com, on Friesen Press Bookstore, and they're available at my office in Woodstock, Ontario, if you're anywhere in Ontario or London local. Books 3 and 4 are on their way. Again, I've got them all here. This is book 2, London. I'll show you right here. And book 3 and 4 is next. I just want to say to everybody, I love to hear from readers. I love to hear feedback. I get a lot of readers who go through a lot of emotional issues. I'm not a therapist, but I am a fan. I am a fan of anyone that loves love, that wants to make that journey. I will give you I will be the cheering squad. I will give you a high five. I want you to get there. I want everyone to come on over to this side and to be well and to feel peace and to feel safe and to just see and experience this life in a magical way for the rest of our days. I want to do it together. So I am your biggest supporter. If you are making that journey and you need these books to help you, I will do anything to put them in your hands and to root for you too. So peace and love.
Ooh, you know who says that?
No.
Ringo Starr.
Oh. I usually
I'm sorry.
Palleck, love the advocate, be one.
Yes, I'm an old Beatles fan, so love, peace and love is what he would always say.
Yeah.
And but you are a special person, young lady, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And these books will be very, very popular. You wait and see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you'll wait right there, I will be right back. Hey, thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of PositiveTalkRadio.net. Please visit our website, oddly named PositiveTalkRadio.net, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to one another because each other's